Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. We're your boys. We always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playalog. And today, folks, we're going to be talking about that Yariel Rodriguez signing, but also looking ahead. Is there a trade coming up in the works? Is there another signing that the Blue Jays are going to make, or is that it on the Blue Jays offseason? We're going to get into that and more in this one, but before we do, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below. Now, I don't want to spend too long going over him again because we do have a pretty extensive live stream that we did yesterday. If you missed it, then go check it out. But when that live stream happened, we didn't actually know the contract details. Now we do. And I fracking love it, dude.
This could be a steal.
This could be a steal.
This could be the best contract the Blue Jays have signed in the last 4 years, and I'm literally not even capping when I say that. We're right over here. You got Francis Romero, but before I look at it, guys, quick shout out to Battlegrounds. Guys, if you guys are having a party or you're bringing out a date for Valentine's Day, go check out Battlegrounds, throw some axes. It's a great time. Francis, he's coming out here and saying, according to industry sources, the agreement between the Blue Jays and Cuban free agent right-handed pitcher Yariel Rodriguez is on a 4-year, $32 million deal. Woo! That averages out to $8 million a year. And if you look at other Blue Jays that you're spending around $8 million, well, you're spending more on Kevin Kiermaier for that. You're spending more for Yusei Kikuchi, right? This guy has the potential to be, yes, for the first part of his contract, he's going to be a long bullpen kind of guy. We'll talk a little bit of those details maybe a little bit later. But then he could eventually be a starting pitcher. And at the age of what he'll be like, 28, 29, 30 in the back half for $8 million to be maybe a good, maybe top end, like maybe a 3 starting pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays at one point. That is a great deal.
That's obviously the ceiling, right? And that's kind of what they're paying for right here by giving him a 4-year deal. You could have played it safe. You could have locked him down for like a 1-year, $10 million thing and just said, okay, let's see what you can do in the major leagues. But what if he is really good, right? What if all of that stuff that people are talking about actually translates? Now you have him locked down for time. And it is so beautiful when you look over at the other Toronto Blue Jays and their contracts, right? You're looking at that pitching staff. You're looking at some of the potential guys who could become free agents in the future. Obviously, Barrios, he's going to be on the team for literally forever. But you also have Chris Bassett. He will come up after 2025. You got Kikuchi coming up after this year. Now that you have Yariel Rodriguez locked down for 4 years, this is your project. This is your dude who maybe one day he can take over for Yusei Kikuchi or he can take over for Chris Bassett. It's such good insurance for these Jays, and I feel like the ceiling is so high.
Yeah, this is a great future planning by Ross Atkins. I know we've been getting on him a lot, but when they mentioned earlier in the offseason that they're planning for the future and they're going to make moves for the future, this is the first one.
Yeah.
This is the first one that actually looks like it could help extend the winning window. And yes, it is a project, so I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say like, yeah, he is guaranteed to be taking over that role and being a great guy. Hey, at worst, he's just a long reliever bullpen guy for us now. And the Blue Jays needed that too. So I'm glad about this move.
Yeah. Very
happy. And, I'm looking forward to see Yariel in a Blue Jay uniform.
And one thing I do want to say too, folks, is give this guy some time. Have some patience, right? Okay, if he comes out, he gets blown up for the first few months of his MLB career, don't hit the red button, okay? Don't freak out because this is going to take some time. His stuff is incredible. He's an international player, so he still needs that adjustment period. But when you look over at what he throws, that slider, I was looking at some videos after we got this guy locked in. That slider is prime Alek Manoah level of slider. Like it is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty, guys. It's got a lot of horizontal break. You gotta love that.
Yes.
It really slides. Now, I do think for Yariel, like this is a great kind of like stepping into the league, right? You don't want to like go to a team and like immediately be in a starting role and then get blown the hell up and then everyone's starting to look at you like, wow, that was a bad signing. Like he's not really ready for the major leagues.
Yeah.
But at least in the bullpen, he can go and hide. Like if he ends his first year with like a 4.10 ERA in the bullpen, I actually will not be mad because
I'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, exactly, because he's going to eat more innings in the back end of the bullpen, so he's going to obviously have a bit of a more of an inflated ERA in the bullpen. So I would be happy with him just getting adjusted to the league.
Yeah, totally agreed, dude. So Yariel Rodriguez, we think it is a big W. I hope that you guys do as well. Now, we do need to cycle back a little bit and look at what Ross Atkins said just a little bit ago, 2 weeks ago. In fact, he came out, he had this big press conference. It was terrible. It was the worst. In that press conference, he said that they are closer to adding one more player, one more guy. We just added one more guy. But the trick on it here is that one guy that they were apparently closer to adding was supposed to be in the outfield and the DH category, which Yariel Rodriguez is not. So it kind of begs the question, was he the one guy, or is there potentially more guys coming?
I think he could be the maybe there's more than one guy kind of guy.
Sure.
Right? Because it's obvious they addressed it in that press conference, how as bad as it was, they addressed it in that press conference. So yeah, that they're looking like they might get one guy closer to an outfielder DH possibility, right? So I think adding on to that, if you were to end up with also a pitcher like our Yariel Rodriguez, which a lot of teams were in, we weren't guaranteed to get Yariel Rodriguez by any means. So if we did just so happen to get him, I think that's going to be on the upside of what Ross Atkins was kind of talking about here, where it's not just going to be one, it could be more than one. What are your thoughts?
It felt like in this entire press conference and basically the whole offseason, this dude has just been covering his ass, covering the bases. And here, I mean, this is after we lost out on Ohtani, after it was looking like, and probably still is looking like, we lost out on Cody Bellinger, we lost out on Juan Soto. And I think he was really like playing down everything and saying, this is what we're going to do. Like, we might only get one more guy. That's it, guys. Don't come after me if we only get one more, because that's maybe what is going to happen this offseason. But obviously, he's going to leave the door open to potentially do more than that. Yariel Rodriguez is $32 million. That is not a whole lot of money, everybody. And when you're looking at some of those other free agents that the Blue Jays have been interested in, I'm thinking Jock Peterson, I'm thinking JD Martinez, I'm thinking Rhys Hoskins, Jorge Soler. I don't think that this signing necessarily impacts them at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I just did the math in my head really quick of all the money we spent on average annual values this offseason, and it's 25. And
that's about half of what we were supposed to do.
That's about half, right? 40 to 50-ish million on the upside right there. So if you're looking at 15 to 25 more million, that is the right range to get a Jock Peterson, to get a JD Martinez, to get a Jorge Soler.
Yeah.
So that would be the final move the Blue Jays make. So in my opinion, I don't think we're done. There's so many guys still out there. Since the last time that he talked about that, there's still every single outfield bat that's out there other than Teoscar Hernandez. Like every single one.
Side note, this offseason has just been wild, folks. Like, I am actually genuinely shocked that there are still so many players available.
You have a whole baseball team of players still out there.
An all-star team
All-star team,
you know?
basically.
Like, there is still a lot of good players out there. So the Blue Jays, even though we've been getting on them about taking all this time and you're going to miss out on everybody, and yes, they certainly missed out on some, there is still moves that they could potentially make. That begs the question, though, is the best way to go about it going out through free agency or potentially making a trade? Because as we know, you bring in one guy, somebody's got to dip off the 40-man roster, and that's already going to be happening with Yariel Rodriguez. And if you were to go to free agency, then there's another guy that would need to potentially be kicked off of the 40-man roster. So in your opinion right now, is bringing in Yariel Rodriguez, is that kind of like a catalyst move to potentially go out and make a trade? Or do you still think that the best way to go about doing this is through free agency?
Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Well, I think that bringing Yariel Rodriguez isn't going to demand a trade or force a trade in by any means, because look, the Blue Jays needed more bullpen help, right? And he's going to fit perfectly on the 26-man roster without pushing anybody around. And yeah, people are out there talking about Alek Manoah. I'm going to come out here and say it right now. We already said it on the podcast we shot earlier. No. There is no Alek Manoah trade, because Yariel is going to be the future and he's going to support the starting rotation for 2024. He's not going to eliminate anybody from it in 2024.
Yeah.
And with that being said, yeah, he's going to be solely independent. However, you could, if you are looking to clear off some 40-man roster, rather than cutting a guy, you might send over a small trade for cash. You know, if somebody's really interested in Wes Parsons, you send him over for a few $100,000 a rookie contract for 1 year. You know, like that kind of type of money. So it maybe that kind of deal. However, in another note, if you are bringing over an outfielder or a DH, that is more likely causing a trade to happen on the 26-man roster because you have already brought in IKF and you have a ton of infielders. So if you want to make room for another big bat, you should probably clear out some of that infield depth on the 26
So you're talking, you bring in Jock Peterson, you bring in a Jorge Soler, one of the two, then that might be a move that potentially could force the hand of Ross Atkins and the Blue Jays.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts? Like, are they most likely going to go into that trade realm or what?
From my opinion, you know, like, again, like I've been speculating on what they're going to do all offseason, and we have been dead wrong a lot of the time.
Yep, guilty.
If I was GM, like if I was running this team, the way that I would go about this is still through free agency. We have talked about this time and time again. You are going to need people on your team to break out and to do well. And we are looking at Alek Manoah, and we are looking at Davis Schneider. These are names that have been rumored to be in trade conversations. And sure, yeah, okay, maybe you can give them away, but I don't think that, you know, what you're going to be getting back is going to be the thing that takes you to the World Series. I think that if this squad wants to become and wants to hit that next level, you still need the breakout of Davis Schneider and the bounce back of Alek Manoah. You still need to rely on your core. So I don't think that bringing in Yariel Rodriguez is like the immediate move to go, okay, like let's give away some of the youth and go all in with Max Kepler or something, because that name was going on. Like, I really think that Max Kepler is going to take us to the next level. Like, no. I truly believe that you still attack this through free agency. You still bring in that complimentary bat of Jock Peterson, and then you look at your guys and you say, okay, look, this is all we can do now. Go play some good baseball.
There's no subtracting from the guys that you want to keep around, like Alek Manoah and David Schneider. I know some of you might go, well, keep around Alek Manoah. Some of you guys are Alek Manoah haters, but the fact is, this kid's got 4 more years on a deal with us, and we've seen the upside, so we got to keep him around. If you're going to subtract, like I said, it's got to be from that core of infielders. Espinal's kind of the name I like to throw out there a lot because, you know, he's the kind of guy that probably offers the least amount of value because you got Cam Biggio lefty, can play some outfield. IKF he just brought in, he's going to cost some money, right? And you have your prospects, of course, that offer upside in the future. So that's the only reality where I see them subtracting. If they're going to trade for a Max Kepler, it's going to be someone off of the 26-man roster. It's not going to be someone who's on it for sure.
No, I completely agree, dude. Again, Yariel Rodriguez, phenomenal signing, but he's still a big question mark. And you don't want to, you know, be taking this big question mark and going, okay, now we're good to trade away some of our other pitchers.
No, exactly.
Maybe this would be a different conversation if this guy was like Blake Snell or Yamamoto or something where you kind of know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case, everybody. This is another complimentary move for these Toronto Blue Jays, and I would, if I was them, continue to look for that through free agency.
Yeah. You guys let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about the Yariel Rodriguez move, and what do you think is the very next step for the Toronto Blue Jays in this offseason?
Also, $3 a month, become a Patreon member. Shout out and thank you to all of our current Patreon members and our YouTube members too. All of you guys are loved and appreciated.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
Go Jays, go!